Hit his head on the fence post and took the cedar post out, and a horse can't even take a cedar post out.
All right. So
You might want to edit that.
No. We're leaving that in. That's perfect. That's the whole story, actually.
Get There is a podcast about the journey behind the jersey, the unseen years before the scholarships, the rankings, and the bright lights. In each episode, we sit down with the parents and coaches who walked alongside exceptional athletes as they grew from white-eyed kids into disciplined, top 3% Division I competitors. These are the people who showed up early, stayed late, made hard choices, and quietly shaped greatness long before the world was watching. Through honest conversations, our guests share the strategies that worked, the struggles that tested them, and the unique perspective of watching potential slowly turn into performance. We talk about belief and boundaries, pressure and patience, setbacks and resilience. Whether you're a parent, a coach, or anyone invested in long-term growth, the Get There explores what it truly takes to support an athlete, not just to win, but to become.
Well, my name is Brad Gordon, and we are here with Layne and Peg Batty, parents of Tyler Batty, who has had a wonderful, exciting career through youth sports and into the NFL. How important were sports to your young family? Like as your kids were growing up, did they all play sports? Was it important? Were you encouraging them to do it? Was it just a thing the family did?
A thing that we encourage because it's an activity, and if they had an interest in playing baseball, sure, we'd let them play baseball. So just try out different things. I mean, that's what life is about. Try out something until you find what you like, what you have a passion for, and that's what you chase.
Okay. So with Tyler in particularly, did he just always love football? Did he experience lots of sports as a young kid?
He did experience a lot of sports as a young child. He, like all of his siblings, played something when they were young, or several different, whether it was soccer or softball, baseball, they all played a sport. And then, of course, they all had music too.
So what was life like on the farm for your kids when they were young?
We gave our kids opportunities to work, and sometimes when they didn't want to and it failed, why, they learned failure. I told them if they didn't know what to do with their hands and their feet, I sent them out on the farm and they picked up rocks and put them in a bucket and hauled them down the fence line.
There was a never-ending supply of rocks here on this property.
So there was a lot of work to be done around here.
Always, still is.
We had a
Never
large
ends.
family, so we had a big garden. And eventually we had a big yard for them to play in. But when we moved here, it was tiny. And
The yard was tiny.
The yard was tiny. And so we just slowly put in gardens and yard. But they were part of it. They helped weed the weeds, and they helped plant the crops and harvest the crops. We did 4-H, so all of them had their own little garden space. They could plant whatever they wanted in. Those experiences helped them to learn what it takes to have something work out.
Yeah.
They had to learn what didn't work and try something else the next time. And yet they all had different skills and talents and interests, and they worked that learning process on everything they tried.
At what age did he start playing sports, and what were they? Which sports was he kind of focused in on?
He probably started with soccer, because I was helping out with City League coaching, soccer and baseball. I remember when he wanted so bad to carry the ball, but he was head and shoulders taller than any of his friends. And so he had an X on his helmet.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't carry the ball, and he wasn't allowed to hit anybody too hard. And he was so determined that he just really, really wanted to hit someone.
He finally got a chance to carry the ball in high school. Always wanted to.
Okay.
And he finally talked his coach into letting him run a play as a fullback. And they handed the ball off to him, and he ran right through the line, knocked out knocked over how many people, I can't count. And it took 4 guys to bring him down, and he was 20 yards past the scrimmage line. So he gained 20 yards on the play after coming from the backfield, and the coach would never let him handle the ball again. But he got his chance to carry the ball.
He was too valuable in other places.
Yes.
I suppose.
Yes, he was.
So once he found football, he decided that the other sports were, he didn't have much interest in the other sports, or did he continue to kind of play both or do more?
He continued to go to basketball camps until he was a junior, I think, and played City League basketball with his friends.
Okay.
And he had a good-sized group of friends, and they loved playing. They had a great time together. And, they were varying size and heights, and so that was something they could all do.
Okay.
Only because basketball was the off season and he wanted something to do.
Yeah.
But if football season was on, there was nothing that
And
took more priority.
Yeah, and he did love it. He loved being with his friends, and that was a real close-knit group and stayed that way till they graduated from high school and even beyond, and which was fun for him.
Mm-hmm.
He wrestled. He started wrestling in junior high, and that was a great experience for him because it was an individual sport, and he realized it was all him. And he had to work really hard. And I think it was a growth experience for him.
So he started wrestling in high school.
Junior high.
Junior high. And how long did he do that for?
Probably till
Couple
he
of
was
years.
a
I think
freshman.
Maybe
Freshman or a sophomore.
a couple of years.
Oh, he wrestled until he had his accident. So he would have been 14.
Okay. Well, that's a great transition. I am very, very curious about the accident. What happened to Tyler when he was 14?
He was doing chores. He was farming. And in the summertime, we had an alfalfa field down here, and the water had to be water lines, hand water lines,
Okay.
40 foot long, 4-inch diameter, aluminum, and he had to pick those pipe up and move them over 20 feet. And he had to do that twice a day, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night. And his football would revolve around that. He fit that in. And he got up early one morning. He went down the road half a mile
On the four-wheeler.
on the four-wheeler and got the water changed and was coming back from changing the water to head for football practice that morning. And he can't remember. He doesn't know if he fell asleep, if the sun got in his eyes or what, but the four-wheeler went off the side of the road, hit a cedar post.
Down an embankment.
Okay. Okay. How far down did he go?
8 feet off the side of the road before he hit the fence. It was steep.
And a little bit beyond that, once he went over the fence.
He didn't go over it. He hit his head on the fence post and took the cedar post out. And a horse can't even take a cedar post out.
All right. So
You might want to edit that.
No. We're leaving that in. That's perfect. That's the whole story, actually.
Well,
Interview
that's
over.
Tyler. he's got a head on him, and he's good at setting goals, and he matches them. He makes them happen. He told us from a young age, "I'm going to play in the NFL," and every young boy says that.
Yep.
He says, "Do it." He didn't say, "Oh, you're not going to make it." He had an uncle that told him there's only 1%
Yeah.
that makes it to the NFL.
Yeah.
No, if you want to do something, go for it. Put every effort forth.
So you guys found him, or he came home.
I usually walk or run in the morning then, and I just decided not to go. I was going to wait for him to not make him late or anything, and he just never came. And then pretty soon I got a knock on the door, and it was a sheriff,
Okay.
a friend of ours, who a runner had seen the accident and called the sheriff department, and he came up, and Tyler wouldn't let anyone touch him. And he was obviously disoriented, and they asked me just to come down and talk with him. And I got down there, and he was obviously injured.
Mm-hmm.
He'd hit his head really hard, and he wouldn't talk with me. He wouldn't let me touch him. and they couldn't get him in the ambulance. And so Layne and Justin had just left for work, our oldest son. So I called him, and they turned around and came back. And when they got there, they just told Tyler they were picking him up and putting him in the ambulance, regardless
He
of what he
would not
wanted.
have anybody touch him until his dad got there.
Yeah.
Don't you touch me. I'm not talking to you. I'm waiting for my dad.
Wow.
He knew I was coming. And they couldn't. He was how old?
He was just turned 14.
And he was so big that 4 men couldn't manhandle him. And he was so strong from working out.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if he was swinging and you caught a punch, you backed off. And when I pulled up there was 4 guys around him and they couldn't touch him. And he was sitting there on the side of the road till I got there. I said, we're going to pick you up and put you in that ambulance. As soon as I got there, he was not combative anymore and
Willing to go.
willing to go.
So the consensus from the doctor was
Massive head injury and brain
okay.
Brain bleed.
concussion.
Okay.
Concussion with a brain bleed.
And he was told
No football anymore.
ever.
No, you ever play football again? All it takes is one hit and you're a vegetable. You're done.
Okay. So, what was the recovery process like?
He had to go through several different kinds of therapy, and it was months of it, and they tracked him, and
Out of sunlight, out of room light, in dark for a while.
he didn't do well with, he was not supposed to be watching TV, playing video games, limited exposure to sunlight, and his motor skills were affected by the brain injury. He had a difficult time just walking and making things work the way he was used to. Mm-hmm. So it was a slow process, and it was kind of agonizing to watch him go through that because he was so determined that he was just fine. He wasn't patient with himself or others. Mm-hmm. He was determined that he was going to show us that he was just fine, and it was interesting to watch him trying to navigate the healing process, because in his mind he had it covered. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I was listening to all the therapists that he went to see regularly, and I just knew it was going to take time, and hopefully he'd recover okay. And we're so grateful that it worked out that way.
And he never doubted for a moment
In fact,
he was going to play football.
Yeah.
he came back with so much more determination
Yes.
for his goals, and the doctor hadn't released him yet, and so he wasn't able to play football that fall. But they did let him go to all the varsity and the JV games and take pictures and video footage. And so he was involved. So he was part of the team. Mm-hmm. And he was young, but because of his size, he had good genetics for playing football, they were anxious to keep him involved. Mm-hmm. And to see what would happen. And he got released enough to play some basketball that season, and eventually was released to wrestle and do spring camp, which wasn't even a year later.
Okay. So did the doctor sign off on him playing football, or did Tyler decide he was
The doctor
good
didn't
enough?
recommend it.
Okay. There was some reluctance still.
He signed off, but told him, Tyler, don't play.
Yeah.
That was his recommendation. Tyler, do not play anymore.
The risk
football.
was kind of high.
Too great.
He just
For his head injury.
yeah.
But he just knew he wanted to play football.
Oh, that's all he wanted. That was his passion.
Yeah.
I mean, he even before the accident, he would, go to the gym in the morning before school, and he would lift weights and exercise, and then of course football was. If you played football, you had a class where you lifted weights during the school schedule, and then practice after school. And he just kept doing it, and he just figured if he stayed longer and went earlier and rallied the troops, his buddies, to do the same. Some of his buddies consistently would go and early and lift with him and work out, stay a little later at the end of practice. He just wanted to give the message to his coaches that he was committed.
We never had to get him up to go to school. He would get up on his own. He set his own schedule. He would get up on his own. He would go to the school before high school, get into the gym, do a full workout, shower, go to school. After school, he would be at football practice and go through all the drills and football practice and then stay out after and work out some more. He came home from a class in high school, from a nutrition class.
I think it was a science and nutrition class.
Science nutrition
The teacher was amazing. His name was Kyle Hill. He has now passed away in the last few years, but he was an ex-Green Beret, I believe, and he was a quirky dude. He was very interesting, and I think the adults wondered about him a little bit, but the students at the high school loved him.
He was great.
And he was kind of straight up, like he didn't mince words. He didn't pull any punches. He just told life like it was. Because of his life experience, he just was very frank with the kids, and he told them basically what life would deal them and that they needed to be prepared and they needed to make decisions now. And Tyler adored that man and was so sad when he passed away after his mission. But good guy, and had a huge impact on Tyler. And regarding, he taught those kids about fueling their body, what they should be eating if they wanted to be healthy and if they wanted to excel physically. And Tyler came home with a list of foods that he tacked on the fridge and said, "This is what you need to fix for me." It was all the healthy stuff. And I was like, you're not my
We
kid.
never had to worry about Tyler getting involved with alcohol, cigarettes, or drugs. Never, ever, because he would never compromise his body's ability to play football.
Yeah.
He already had that happen once
Yeah.
with the head injury. He wasn't going to do anything that was going to compromise his health.
So at any point, there was never a point where you had to encourage him
Oh, no.
to go work,
Oh,
to go
absolutely.
train.
Oh, absolutely none. It was all on him. It was all on him. Yeah, he had a passion from a little guy. He was mad when they wouldn't let him play tackle football, and all he could do was play flag football. He was so excited when he could hit
Yeah,
somebody.
he was dying to be able to play. He was so excited about it. And he was, if you could have watched him even as a little guy playing when he was 10, he was just so full of life and energy. And he was very loud. And because he was very loud and very large, it's no different than he was at BYU. He's a sideline cheerleader at BYU when he wasn't on the field.
Yeah.
And he was very much that way as a child.
What was the day like at home when you did finally, like, did he know for a while that the doctor was going to sign off on him to play football, or was
No.
it a surprise?
You know what? I actually said to the doctor when he got injured, I said, "What are we looking at for recovery time?" He said, "It's individual. As far as how quickly he'll recover, it's very individual." And he said, but he just for the next couple, 2 or 3 years, he needs to be so careful to not have another head injury of any kind. His brothers were so cute. They went out and bought him an expensive helmet to ride bikes with, an expensive helmet to ride the four-wheeler with. And they just were so cute and so supportive of Tyler. And then when he really started playing football again, he was like so fiercely devoted. And it showed on the field. Even in high school, he'd take 2 players out at a time to make it happen. And he just encouraged all of his friends that played to play like that and to just be so dedicated and so sincere in their effort. And I remember him wanting to make sure that he was bringing all of his buddies along at the same level he was, because he was raised in this big family, and to him it was all about family, you know. And he wanted it for all of them.
I think that's what got him through his injury.
His buddies.
No, his desire to play football.
Oh, okay.
His attitude is what helped him heal so fast, and that he didn't have to wait years to play again. It's something that he wanted, and he was willing to do anything to get back to playing football, and it did not matter. And he knew he was going to. He was bent on it. That was his goal in life. It changed from just playing football to I have to get better. And it's the mentality. I believe there's a lot in mentality and mental focus and how you feel mentally. And we told him he could. You've got to do this. It's up to you. We can't help you. And it was all on him and his recovery. I mean, we provided everything he needed, but it was for him to follow through and actually do it. And Tyler, if this is what you want to play football, this is the way you're going to get there, and there's no other path.
And we didn't really even have to coach him. He came out of that injury and that situation with this built-in renewed sense of energy and commitment. Like, I was blown away. To the point where it started when he was a sophomore, he just started really paying attention to what he had to do to get out there, to get his information out there to coaches. And I told him about a neighbor whose mom had recorded some of the games he'd played in, and so that he could mail those DVDs or CDs, whatever they were then, out to college people so that he could get his face out there, you know. Yeah. And Tyler formed his own account on Huddle and started taking pieces of the film and putting them together so that he had all this footage on Huddle. And that was his junior year. And it was out there, and we didn't know how coaches saw that, viewed that, and that was a big deal. And he did that himself. I mean, obviously somebody filmed all the games, right, but he took those snippets and put them together and submitted them to this Huddle account, and then they were out there and available. So when he started going to camps, his footage was being viewed that end of his sophomore summer and his junior year. It was being viewed by coaches from all over the country. We had no clue, which is one reason why I was so shocked when he got that telephone call on Easter Sunday during church that offered him a position
from Hawaii.
At a D1 school, which was always his goal. There's so much, because we weren't athletes ourselves on anywhere a level like that.
Right.
We didn't know how it worked, and it's changed vastly, I'm sure, over the years. But he did.
Yep.
He figured it out, and he had questions for people and coaches, and they were supportive of him, and it's evident that his information got out there. When we got a telephone call from Air Force, he came and talked to us at the house and talked to Tyler. And
in high school, was he always a linebacker?
No, defensive end.
Okay.
He played tight end for a game and got his clock cleaned.
I told my boys, because we had a couple others that played, the other two played football. I says, play on defense. I says, if you're on offense, you're big enough that they're going to put you on the front line, and all you are is a battering ram for people to hit.
Yeah.
I says, be on defense, and you put the hits on. Yeah. It's much more fun to put the hits on than take the hits.
Yeah.
And they'd all wrestled around here and messed around enough that they understood what I was telling them. And so that's when they started playing defense. And at one time, he was of the physique that he could be a good tight end, very good tight end. And so he wanted to play both sides of the ball. And so in high school, he did. He played offense and defense. And he was thrown the ball as a tight end. And with his athletic ability, it was overthrown, but he jumped up and grabbed it. And somebody took his legs out from underneath him, and he body slammed onto the ground, and it didn't feel very good. And he says, enough of that. He went back to playing defense.
Also stick with defense.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So he played defensive end all through high school.
Okay.
It was the Vikings that wanted him to come, and they took him on as a linebacker.
Right. Okay. That's yeah. I kind of do. I want to jump. Well, I have one more question. What it's clearly he was very self-driven, self-motivated.
Oh yes, absolutely.
How did he handle failure as a kid?
Learn from it.
Was there ever any moment where he was like, I just don't think I want to do this anymore?
Oh no. No, not even today.
I remember worrying a little bit about his grades, but he would put in the work to keep his grades up, albeit often last minute.
Yeah.
But he was so determined to keep his grades up and be a good football player.
He knew it mattered. He knew his grades mattered as much as his playing ability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Princeton offered him a position on their team, is because he came out of high school with the 3.78 grade point average. And they saw that with his athletic ability, and we went back there for a 3-day visit, official visit. And yes, they wanted him to play there because they knew he was going to be a good student and a good football player.
Tyler liked the idea of an Ivy League education.
Yeah.
But there was never a question. So we talked a little earlier, and I told you, have fun with whatever you're doing.
Right.
And that's what I've tried to instill in these kids. Enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, find something else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler today will tell you, when this is no longer fun, then I will back away from it. But as long as I'm still having fun, I'm going to stick with it because this is what I like.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. That's great advice. That's especially great advice for young people, young athletes, the parents of young athletes, which I think need a lot of help these days with navigating the throes of youth sports. So Tyler grew up LDS and decided to serve a church mission when he was 19.
I think he thought about it growing up. You know, it was hoped for. We hoped he would choose a mission.
He was worried it would impact his career.
Yeah.
He questioned that when he got out of high school. We didn't talk about it a lot, but in the conversations it would be there. You could tell that he was dealing with that fact as to what do I do? Do I go on a mission? Is it going to impact my career for playing college football? He always told me, he says, Dad, I just need one Division I offer. That's all. I don't care if I get any more. I just need one, and I'll take it. Because once I get there, I can show them what I can do, and I can go anywhere. And that's been his attitude until still today.
Mm-hmm.
When he finished college, Dad, I just need one offer in the NFL. Just one. I don't care where it's at. I'll go anywhere and play. Because if I can show him what I can do, then I can go anywhere. And that's been his attitude throughout his whole life.
Mm.
And so, yes, it was a big deal when he came out of high school. And he was thinking, I'm at a point in my life, what do I do? Do I want to compromise my ability to play in Division I college football? A kid coming out of Payson that only won one football game a year? What's my chances? Am I going to blow that and go on a mission for the LDS Church? Always a question in his mind.
Sure.
He told me, he said, I told Dad I'd serve a mission. And I think that when we were at Dartmouth, that definitely came up when Buddy Tevens, the coach, asked Tyler if he was going to do the church thing. And Tyler, I think we were almost holding our breath
We were.
Tyler said, I'm going to serve a mission. And we were like, yes. I just saw the impact that it made in my husband's life to have had a mission behind him.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was a big blessing.
And the surprising response from Buddy Stevens.
Oh, my word.
Because he didn't lay it all out before us until after Tyler said that. And he's like, good.
We were holding our breath, wondering what he was going to do because it's time to decide.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure.
You got a D1 coach asking you, and all of a sudden, you've got to make a decision. If it wasn't made before, you better be making it now because whatever you say is going to impact your future.
Yeah.
And when he said yes, we breathed a sigh of relief. And then Buddy Stevens' response, great.
Yeah.
I have returned missionaries on my team right now, and I love them. I know where they're at night. They're not out partying. They're disciplined. They know how to work. They listen. They're coachable. They're teachable. I mean, he went through this long list of attributes that he loved about returned missionaries and why he loves them for what they learned on their mission. And he told Tyler, he says, you go on your mission. And when you come back, I want you to come back and play for me.
That's special.
That's so very special to us. And man, after Tyler said that he wanted to go on a mission, and then Buddy Stevens encouraging him to go, and then listing this great big long list of characteristics that returned missionaries come back with and why he wants him to go on a mission. I mean, we couldn't have got any better of a confirmation and encouragement from anybody at that point in Tyler's life.
So how do you stay in shape?
On his mission,
Yeah.
it was a struggle.
Did he?
Oh yeah, he
Lost a lot
was
of muscle.
he was working out, but he lost weight and
Yeah.
30
and he lost some muscle. And at that point in time, that is why BYU, instead of red shirting them, they have what they call a gray shirt.
Okay.
And so they can gray shirt him. He came back in the fall, but or in the summer. He came back in the summer, and a lot of the athletes were going to play and going on the team, but they couldn't perform, not after being on a 2-year
The
mission.
injuries.
And you can redshirt for a year, but then that blows your redshirt year. So there's such a thing as gray shirting, where he comes back in the summer, he gray shirts, and he doesn't join the team in the fall. He can be around it and be associated with it, but he doesn't officially join the team until January. And then he
that's when
starts,
classes start.
and then he goes into, he doesn't start at BYU or anything. Oh yes, did he start at BYU that fall?
January.
Or January?
Started in January.
So he started classes in January, he gray shirted, signed up in January. That means spring football. He was ready to go to camp, fall camp, and then play a year after he got home. And he still had his redshirt season in the pocket in case
Injury or
did it.
something.
injury and he needed his red shirt. He hadn't blown it. And
So how did he? At what point did BYU start showing interest?
right
He-
off.
When
Okay.
he was a junior, he had gone to summer camp at BYU and 2 other camps, All Poly and the one up in South Salt Lake. And so I was seeing video footage on Huddle of the results of those camps, but not BYU's. We were at BYU, and they were just giving the boys a tour of the football facility, which was really a great facility in recent years. They just built such a nice facility. So they had us all go into the team room, and the parents that were there, they invited the parents to come when we picked them up from practice that day. And they introduced all the staff, the coaches, and the people who were helping with the camp, and introduced Coach Sataki, and Alisa was there, and Ty Detmer. And they had answered some of the boys' questions, but mostly they just were introducing the staff and telling them what was available at BYU. And so I thought we were just going to tour the facility, and we stood up and headed out of the room, and we went to see a couple of the areas. And one of the coaches pulled me aside and he said, Coach Sataki would like to talk to you and your son. Are you Mrs. Batty? And I said, yes, I am. And so he said, well, I'll let you know when he's ready to see you. And so we continued with the tour, and we got to a place which is the same level as Coach Sataki's office. And he came up to me and he said, let's you and Tyler and I just go in this room. We're going to meet with Coach Sataki for a minute. So we went in there, and he's like, Tyler, we are really impressed with you. We've looked at your grades, we've looked at some video footage, and we've watched you at camp, and we'd like you to come play for BYU. What do you think about that? And Tyler was pretty excited, but he'd already been recruited by a few other schools, and they sent Tyler all these posters of the other members on the football team and recruitment letters, and we were getting several pieces of mail every week. And so when the BYU ones started coming, I would plaster them all over the house. And he's like, Mom, I'm not going to BYU. Just because you went to school there, I'm not going to BYU. And so he said, I'm looking for an out-of-state experience, and that's what I want. I'm like, okay. And he said, so take down all the BYU posters. So I did.
So was that experience before or after Sataki and Detmer came here?
That was after.
So before that, BYU had shown interest in Tyler, and both Tuiaki, not Sataki, both Tuiaki and Ty Detmer came here for breakfast one morning, and Peg fixed us all breakfast. And we sit down at the breakfast table in our kitchen, and Ty Detmer wanted Tyler for a tight end, and Tuiaki wanted him for a defensive end. And so they came here and had breakfast with us, and we talked things over, and they wanted him to come play. And I really appreciate what Tuiaki had to tell him. He says, I don't want you to tell me and commit to me that you're going to play for BYU if you're not, if you have any reservations. And he put it to him like this. He says, committing to me that you're going to play for BYU is like getting engaged to a girl. You stop dating the other girls, and you only date the one you're engaged to. He says, if you commit to me, you don't go to any more official visits to any other school. You're committed to BYU. Don't you commit to me to come and play today if you're not interested and totally dedicated to us and you're still looking at other schools. You wait until you make that decision. I was really impressed with that on him. Mm-hmm. And so Tyler didn't commit.
Right.
And then he told us many times, I'm not playing for BYU.
So then what changed?
What changed is this. Go ahead.
Well, that was the end of November.
Well, he wanted
Early
to play.
December.
He wanted to play for a D1 college that was in a conference.
Okay.
That would
He
get
says,
him to the NFL.
I will not get
He wanted the
noticed
exposure.
if I'm not in a conference.
Right.
And BYU is not in a conference.
Yeah.
He says, I'll go play for Utah or I'll go play for an out-of-school state, but I want to play in a conference. And so then he got all these other offers, and we went to Princeton and did an official visit in Princeton, and he wanted to go to Hawaii just so that he could get a free trip to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And we told
But
him,
you can't blame him.
No, you can't.
But what changed was
after we went to Princeton in December, early December, BYU reached out to him and said, we know you've been making other official visits. We know that people have come to your home and spoken with you, which was
true.
the case. And so they said, after the holiday, we really want you to come and do an official visit here. Just because you're local doesn't mean we're not going to treat you the same as any of the boys that we're shipping in. So he went.
He didn't want to go.
He wasn't real excited about it.
And this is why. He was at BYU football camp every single year. We
different
made
coach.
sure that as soon as he was old enough to go to BYU football camps in the summer, we wanted his face over there. We wanted him to know BYU. We wanted him to know the coaches. We wanted him to know everything we could, because that's where we wanted him to play all along. Because, okay, it's selfish. I can go
close
to
to
every home game,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
I didn't want to drive to Salt Lake or anywhere else. I want to drive to Provo and watch him play, and we love BYU. We've always been BYU fans. We've had other kids that went and graduated from BYU. She went to school at BYU.
Yep.
And he says, I don't need to go to camp. I've been over there. I know what they do. And so she said, Tyler, let's just go to a 3-day official visit over there. So she talked him into it.
And he was impressed. When we got to the hotel, they had laid out on his bed probably a 9 or 12 panel picture of him from the back laying across the bed in a BYU uniform with his name across the shoulders. And then there was all the food and snacks he could eat and all the fun drinks. And then they just took such good care of him. And he really got to know some of the boys that were also being recruited that weekend. He was so impressed with the feeling at BYU. What I said earlier about Tyler not wanting to be the leader on the team and be alone, he brought all of his buddies with him. He wanted them to all have the same drive and that same energy that he had in high school. And he loved his friends, that his family, they were his family on the high school level, you know? And he was so outgoing that he knew all their parents, and they did lunch. And it was like that at BYU. He felt that. He felt that there was a unity there that he surely did not feel when we went back
At other
east.
places.
At other places.
We'll just leave it at that.
Right. And he loved it. And he was...
We was only there a day and a half. Because we'd been to other official visits, and he said, I'm not playing here. I don't care about the player. We went to BYU. They care about the player. You've seen it over the past how many years with Sataki. That's his family. There's a family atmosphere there. And Tyler loved that and was only there a day and a half. And he turned to us and he says, this is where I'm playing football.
And to say the least, we were thrilled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then
That was the turning point. It was that 3-day visit.
recruiting
And
day
how
came.
and
he
how he
signed.
felt. He felt like it was family, and that's where he belonged.
That's awesome.
There was another family that was there from California, and they were non-LDS, and BYU was recruiting them. And we went to breakfast the first morning. We went over one night, and they put us up in the hotel, and the next morning we went to breakfast, and we sit down by this other family at their table and was talking with them, and this lady that was from California with her and her husband and their son there, and she said, I don't know what it is about this place. She says, there's something special here. She says, I can feel it, but I can't put my finger on it. But there's something special about this place. And we agreed.
Yeah.
But their son did not choose to come play
He went to Southern
BYU.
California.
Yeah, it was neat that other people
Recognized it.
recognized and
Yeah.
can feel the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, and Tyler had a phenomenal, that's what I was grabbing my phone for. We'll edit some of this out, but he had a phenomenal career at BYU.
He loved it. They could see, so Tyler was good enough that most freshmen set the bench first year. Oh no. Tyler went in and started playing.
Yeah.
They knew that he could. That's why they wanted him there.
Which
Tuiaki
surprised
knew
us
that.
both that happened. because we were watching players that didn't.
Sure.
And we were really surprised. But he's kind of larger than life in personality and size, and has ever been that way.
And athletic ability.
We were really happy for him, and of course we're proud of him, but no more proud than we were with all of our children.
Sure.
But it's hard to discount the energy that he brought to BYU and his determination to do well. I mean, it was very evident.
So they put him on the field, and he did very well. And 4 games in, as a freshman, he was leading the nation in quarterback sacks as a freshman. That's just unheard of. And to get a little bit of an idea about how athletic Tyler is, how tall was he when he went on his mission?
He was 6'4.5", I think.
Okay.
And when he came home, he was almost 6.
Okay, before he went on his mission, he was 6'4", and he weighed what, 230 pounds when he left?
Then he lost a lot of
Right.
weight. Yeah.
Okay, when he left, he was 6'4" and 230
Edit that.
pounds, right?
Nope. That's
And I-
staying in.
And I have a video of him in the backyard on the grass, standing on the grass, doing a backflip and landing it.
Yeah.
At 230 pounds and 6'4"?
Can you still do it? Right.
I don't think so.
Let's see if we can get him to send us a video.
I'll tell you what, he did it, and I says, wait a minute, I got to have a video of this. You got to do that again. It wasn't just a one-time deal. He could do it again and again and again.
Yeah. Peak athleticism starts on the farm. I think that's the number one key takeaway that we got out of this chat.
Well, I'll tell you what.
All children need to start on a farm.
They do. It's work. They have a good ethic, a good work ethic. They know how to work.
Yeah.
That's how you survive on a farm.
At what point did you guys realize that there was an opportunity for him to play in the NFL?
When I started seeing in his junior year that fall,
College or high school? Because we didn't know in high school.
Yeah.
I started watching what he was doing, and I was amazed. And then he would go up to his teammates, and if they needed him to say something to him, he'd say it. He would take them by the head and put his face right in their face. And he would tell them what he thought they needed to hear to be motivated. His team was a losing team largely his whole career in high school, but he was just so determined that it wasn't that difficult, that they could make a difference. And I loved that. I loved watching him, and some of his plays were pretty great. It didn't mean they won, but they were pretty great.
I was in college. I mean, yeah, he was hoping he could get in a Division I school.
Yeah.
And he made it. In fact, he had 5 or 6 of them that offered him to come and play for him. But then when he started playing as a freshman, and if he wouldn't have pulled his tendon and his high ankle sprain is what they called it, but he actually pulled a tendon or something that put him out the rest of his freshman season. That only made him more hungry when he come back as a sophomore. And then about his junior year in college, we could see this kid might have a chance at 1%.
Yeah.
This kid might have a chance at the NFL.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is we'd have I've had a couple of recruiters come up to me at games and say, your kid's pretty good. And we were at BYU games, and they would talk to me, and Tyler's like, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. He was pretty humble. And half the time we didn't even know about things that he was involved in and events that he was involved in. What BYU did as a football team for the community was so important to Tyler, but he would never brag on it. He would never talk about it. He just showed it on the field. and I loved that there was a humility along with a desire to keep developing his skill set.
He got a little mouthy on the field one time. And I talked with him afterwards. I says, Tyler, don't you do your talking with your mouth. You can talk with your actions on the field, and that's what's going to make the most difference. You can trash talk, you can say whatever you want out on the field, but if you can't back it up, it doesn't mean anything. So don't worry about what you say on the field. Do, show. You get out on that field and you show them what you can do. He got a little upset in high school. It was in his senior year. His junior year was his best year in high school. And then when he put that clip out there on Huddle and all the coaches, and he started getting all his D1 offers, then that's when they started double teaming him as a senior. And his statistics in his junior year was much better. He had a much better year. But his senior year is when he learned that he's going to be double teamed the rest of his life. Because those coaches came at him, they thought, oh, wait a minute. We have a D1 player we're playing against on this team. And it may be a losing team, but we better focus on this kid. And so they would put all of their effort, their whole team effort on Tyler. They would double, triple team, whatever they need to do, their whole team. It seemed to me like their coach says, don't let him in. I don't care who else gets in, but don't you let Batty in. And Tyler, they got him one time, and he couldn't get in. And he come running back down the field, and the coach on the other team said, D1 college, or D1 college, my beep. That's what he told Tyler, and that made him mad. And he started to get in a little bit of a confrontation with the coach. And I said, Tyler, it doesn't matter what he says. Don't deal with that. Show him on the field. Don't talk to him. Don't argue with him on the sidelines. Show him on the field what you are. Don't worry about anything else. And they've been double teaming him ever since. In the NFL, they double team him.
Yeah.
I thought, that's going to go away. Wonderful. You're going to get in the NFL, Tyler, and you can go one-on-one with these guys right now.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's in the backfield. You watched his last season with the Vikings. If the camera's showing where the ball is and Tyler's on the field, he's in the camera. We've seen so many games. He's not always the star of it because he's playing special teams, He's only on there on kickoffs and punts. But we see him on the TV so much because of his drive.
Yeah.
And he's out there. He's only facing one guy, but they did put him on defense, and they double teamed him again in the NFL.
Well, and I was going to ask, I think that's I don't think parents can really, especially parents who have never had, there are families that have generational athletes that just they just
Yes.
push them in the NFL.
Yes.
What is it like? What's it like watching your kid play on television in the NFL? Especially when, I think it's unique that it's clear that it was never...
It was never our goal.
And it was never a requirement from you guys. No. You didn't need Tyler to do all that stuff for you to be proud of him and for you to be proud of your family and all the things, right? And that's a unique approach for sure. It's the right approach in my opinion, but it's got to be pretty special to watch him live his dream.
It was his dream. Me, I would have liked to have seen all 7 kids be dealing in horses right now.
Yeah.
Okay? They all know how to ride. Okay? They all know how to ride. They all know how to take care of a horse.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. But it would have been my dream to have them all involved in horses, and not one of them are.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can't push your kid to do something, or like Peg would say, live your life through them.
Yeah.
They have their own life.
Yeah.
And we both see too many parents trying to live their life that they did not have through their children. No. Let those kids find their passion and then encourage them. and support them and love them and be there for them all the time. Don't make them do something. We've seen that. We've seen that with other families, and making your child do this or that, and then finally one day they just say, hey, you know what, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
One of our daughters said to me, because a lot of our family and friends are like, well, your kids are all quite successful. That's not normal. And she said to me one day, she said, Mom, when people say things like that to me, I look at them and tell them, I had to decide early on, because no one was going to hand anything to me. My family just wasn't like that. We didn't have the resources for that. Mm-hmm. And so I knew early on that I had to do something with my life for myself. And she said, and I think most of the rest of our siblings feel the same way.
We didn't pay for their college.
Yeah.
They had to earn their own way through college.
Some of them got scholarships, one way or the other.
Got jobs, worked while they're going to school. That's what they learned here. They had to work.
If you guys had, if you could sum up all of your experience into one piece of advice for for the parents of young athletes, what do you think you'd share?
I just gave it. Love them, encourage them, support them, be for them, but don't force them. Mm-hmm. Give them opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be their dream.
Their dream, not yours.
Well, and I think they need to know deep down inside who they really are. And this brings religion into it. I wasn't raised LDS, I was raised Catholic. But my parents tried to give us a sense of gratitude for what we had and who we were, and to remember where we came from, that we're God's children. If we remember that He has a hand in our life, I laughed when Tyler went to a chiropractor who was the team chiropractor for BYU. And I would take him to the chiropractor with all the sports he did. He was always out of whack. And the doctor looked at me one day and he said, Peg, you've got to know, Tyler has the whole package here. Do you understand that his genetics have gifted him an opportunity? So I think between knowing that they're a child of God and they need to do good with their life, being grateful for the genetics that they were given and an opportunity, which may or may not pan out if they don't put in the work and the effort. Mm-hmm. And then being willing to sacrifice and put in the work. Those are all good things to know. And I think that if you're doing it to please someone else, that's eventually going to run out of gas. Mm-hmm. Doing it because it's a passion and it brings you joy and other people joy, ultimately that success is a happier road.
And Tyler's a giving person. He was halfway through college when he says, Dad, I want to start a nonprofit. I want to give back to the community. I says, great, do it. What are you going to do? He says, I don't know, I can't decide. And a couple of weeks later, he came back to him and he says, I figured out what I want to do for the nonprofit, but I need your help. I said, sure, what are we going to do? He says, equine therapy for special needs. And I said, that's great. He says, but I can't run it. I need your help. Whatever we need to do. So he set up a nonprofit called Edward's Hands. I'd already been doing equine therapy on a smaller scale, but he wanted to grow it. And so he started a nonprofit, and we have trail rides for special needs once a week here.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
And Edward's Hands actually came from Coach Lamb.
Okay.
of BYU.
Yep.
His son, 10-year-old son. Sataki took the coaches, I think it was Idaho, for kind of a retreat and a bonding type of a thing one spring, and took them to a ranch up there. And some of them didn't have such good experiences, but Tuiaki and Lamb had a great experience, and they got talking to Tyler and said, "I hear your dad has horses and does trail rides," and he says, "Yeah." So he set them up, and they came down, did a trail ride. Well, on that trail ride, Coach Lamb was talking to one of my guys that lead the rides during the ride, and he found out that we did a little bit of equine therapy. Well, Coach Lamb had a 10-year-old son named Edward. And he says, "Can I bring him down?" So he came down and started with us. And Coach Lamb saw us. He came down every week after he saw what he could do, what it was doing for Edward. And then he ended up buying his own horses and stabling them in Provo so that he could do it 6 days a week, not 1 day a week. That's Tyler's way of giving back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. Is that, and this question, you can cut this out, but do you guys, I mean, I have no idea how many people this are going to view this, but do you want to promote that? Do you want to like actually have me ask where they can find more information about Edward's Hands or your trail rides? Do you want to talk about it?
Sure, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. You got to do the clicker again. I'm kidding. Don't click. So where can people find out more about your trail rides or Edward's Hands, your nonprofit?
The nonprofit is edwardshands.org.
Okay.
They can go there to find out more about if they would like to donate to the cause. I don't make any money off my rides. I don't make any money. How about that? I do it for two reasons. I want people to understand and enjoy horseback riding.
Yeah.
And so here at Circle B Farm, maybe you want to see that.
Circle B Farm. Yeah, that's nice.
Okay.
That is nice.
Circle B Farm is what I own. Tyler has the nonprofit.
Yep.
And so we run Edward's Hands out of Circle B Farm.
Okay.
And Circle B Farm is where on Instagram or they can actually sign up for the rides on the nonprofit side on Edward's Hands. So we do public rides on Saturdays, and I charge a minimum of $35 a person for an hour and a half on a horse versus $100 and something per hour if you go other places. But like I say, I don't make any money. That money doesn't even come to me. The money we pull in on Saturdays goes straight into the bank account for Edward's Hands.
Okay.
And that money helps pay for feed so that we don't charge for our equine therapy, for our trail rides for them. We also do a youth ride during the week, and I don't charge for youth rides. So we just charge on Saturdays, and it's just at $35 a person, people can bring families over and go for rides.
Yeah.
And enjoy the outdoors, get them on horse, get them an experience they may never have had before. And so that's why we do the whole thing. Edward's Hands, Circle B Farm, it's given back to the community and helping people and making it affordable that other people can enjoy. Okay, that's my passion.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler's...
Can't drop your kids off though. Parents have to come.
Parents have to come.
Okay.
Yes, we don't.
You're not a babysitter.
No, we're not a babysitter.
Right.
No. There has to be. If your kid's going to come and ride, you have to come with them.
Cool.
We need an adult with a couple of kids. So
cool.
Yeah, that's my passion. Tyler's is football.
Yeah.
And we brought them together. He has a nonprofit, and we run it here out of Circle B Farm.
That's great. We had a phenomenal time learning about the Batty family and Tyler's journey and your journey with Tyler as parents. And appreciate you guys allowing us to come into your home and share your life with us a little bit. For more information, you can click the link below to subscribe to the channel and learn a little bit more about our stories.